marketing process to reach multiple people. And so we wanted to kind of go over that today. So we wanted to talk about how do you actually create an annual marketing plan? What are some small business trends for 2020? Do an introduction to Trello, which is a digital application that we use to really plan out our calendar for the year. And then just provide any answers, questions, things like that that you may have. And so, as I said, I'm Fallon Farrell. Derek Robinson is my business partner, as well as Roy Carr. We are Fade Media. I handle a lot of website design, brand management. Derek handles a lot of complex design, promotional campaigns, marketing campaigns, and Roy is our IT developer. So he's able to work with us to do mobile app development or any complex software integrations. And so we want to get started first, kind of going over what is the annual marketing plan. And so I know a lot of businesses will create a marketing plan when they're first starting their business, but it seems as if as years go by, they tend to not do the beginning of the year. And so this is something that should be created every year just to kind of help you organize your marketing strategies, what you're trying to accomplish, things of that nature for the year. And so we came up with what we call the FADE approach. And the FADE approach essentially is a quick 4-step process just to break down how to create a marketing plan. And so the first is to find your vision. What are the goals that you're trying to achieve for the year? What market do you serve? Who are your customers? Who are your competitors? What features really distinguish you separately from others? And really sitting down to set your goals and strategies. And so this is really important because it essentially sets the foundation for your marketing plan for the year. So what are you really trying to accomplish with your marketing objectives? Your marketing objectives should be SMART goals. You know, everyone's heard of that, something that you could actually achieve. If you know you're trying to make a certain amount of money annually, you should probably budget 5% of that from your sales towards marketing costs. So we'll hear companies or businesses, small businesses will say, we're trying to have $1 million in sales, but we only could afford $500 for our, annual marketing activities. And it's just not realistic. So you really want to sit down and understand what you're trying to achieve, and then really kind of align your budget to do that, just so that you can make sure you're achieving that. You want to look at who your customers are. A lot of times small businesses will say their customers are everyone in the market. That's just not realistic either. Actually, the more you target your customers down to a niche audience, it's more affordable for you to target them. And it's more affordable for you to create strategies to really reach out to them, because then you're not trying to create an ad campaign that's reaching the masses. Instead, it's reaching a targeted group. And you can really strategize your money a little bit better for that. And just within all of that internal research, you really want to figure out what is the thing that distinguishes you from others, because then you can really start use that in your messaging. If you're saying quality, we have the best quality product out there, you can really start targeting all your messaging towards quality, what makes your quality better than the next person, kind of showing the quality in your campaign. So really just doing this internal assessment of who you are and what you're trying to accomplish will really help you in the long run. So the next step you want to do is achieve your vision. And so this is really about how you're going to create a strategy to go after, what it is that you're set out to do. Some things you could do are establish partnerships. For instance, how we're partnering today with Women in Seating. Finding people that are also serving your audience and creating ways that you guys can work together to do some things to achieve great results. Creating a marketing budget, as I mentioned, really sitting down to say, what is a realistic marketing budget for the year, for the month, and for the quarter? This just allows you to really plan your resources out and make sure you're kind of getting ready for certain surges in the year, right? So during the holiday season, you may have a little bit more marketing dollars in your budget just so that you can really do the Black Friday sales, the holiday sales. You just want to sit down and assess the full year and kind of see where you should be putting your money. And then finally, you want to sit down and start creating all of your marketing collateral. This is how you're really going to reach the market, whether it's flyers, posters, creating events to reach your audience, running ads on Facebook or other digital platforms. Are you doing any sponsorships of local community events? So once you kind of understand what you're trying to achieve, what your budget is, then you could kind of sit down and really start figuring out what are some tasks and strategies that I could do to hit each of my goals. And so then the next step is just to implement the vision. And that just goes back to doing your vision. What are the things that you're doing to actually target your audience? What are the things that you're doing to actually just implement all of the planning and the ideas that you've come up with to achieve your goals? So, like we said, that's social media, hosting events, doing other external communications and things of that nature. This is really where you get to have fun in the process. You've been like in the back room planning this whole time, and now it's just all about implementation, really connecting with the community and really just enjoying the process. So we just like to tell clients, like, I know it gets a little overwhelming. Everyone thinks when you say marketing, you have to be an expert. Anyone could do marketing. Anyone is a salesperson. You know your product. You know what you offer the market. And so, at some point you have to kind of like lighten up and just have a little creative fun with the process. And so that's really what the Do Your Vision is all about, like interacting with your audience, posting funny things on the internet if you want, giving some personality to the brand and to the strategies that you're trying to accomplish. And then finally, we have examine your vision. This is really important because, sometimes as a business owner, you're juggling so many things. You'll look up and you feel like you're just doing all these things and you're not really seeing any movement on the scales, maybe in the sales or things of that nature. And so really sitting down to track everything, how many website visitors are you getting per month? How has your social media numbers increased per month? How has your sales increased per the month? I mean, once you sit down and do this assessment, it allows you to really kind of realign all of your ideas and strategies. You'll look and see that, okay, so this type of advertising works really well. So maybe I could push a little bit more money in the budget doing Facebook ads versus doing, YouTube ads. Or you may say, okay, I had a really great response at this event that I hosted. What are some things that I could do to, carry that momentum? How do I get them to sign up for my newsletter, to continue to push out promotions? So, really sitting down and examining what is working, what isn't working, is a way to also kind of just grow in the future. And so, as we mentioned, that's the FADE approach. First, you have find your vision, then you have achieve your vision, do your vision, and then examine your vision. And this is a really great foundation to looking at your marketing plan and your marketing activities for the year. And then just kind of going into detail as far as just what are the things I could do to ensure that my company is putting itself in the best position to thrive. And so this is really important because we've worked with a lot of organizations and businesses that they'll hire on us as a design firm. And, the first thing we're going to do as a branding firm is ask, well, what are you trying to accomplish? What are your strategies? And we'll find that a lot of people can't articulate that. And essentially, it's almost a waste of money to go out and start hiring external vendors if you don't really understand what you're trying to accomplish, because you could be spending money with someone that you don't really need to be working with, Or, you may not have a clear idea of what you're trying to achieve. So someone could plan this great, service for you. And then when you look at your results, you realize, okay, we did all this work, but I didn't see an increase in my sales, right? So you really have to sit down and understand what you're trying to accomplish before you start externally working with people. And so this is why we really stress for all organizations and companies to really go through this process on an annual basis and not just at the start of the business when they're creating their business plan. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. So then we'll go through a couple of trends for 2020. These are things that we looked at that all small businesses could do to succeed. So one of the things is collect customer reviews. This is like low-hanging fruit for any business owner. So, whether it's asking a business or a customer to leave a review on your Facebook page, collecting those testimonials to add to your website, word of mouth is still the strongest type of marketing there is. So having customers sit down and leave those reviews, and it's just a great way to really try to promote yourself, because it's just a simple kind of no-brainer that you could do. The second is personalize your customer communication. So this really relates to how do you make each customer feel like they're doing business with, you as a person and not necessarily this, brand, so to speak, with everything going on digitally and things of that nature, human interaction is still something that everyone wants to feel. So whether it's leaving a chat box on your website for people to kind of reach out to you directly, or when you even send out your email blast, making sure that they're personal to the people that you're sending it out to. So if someone buys a particular product off your website, you kind of want to send, follow-up messages that maybe relate to that product or the lifestyle of someone using that product. That way people start to feel like they're connecting with you personally and they're not just like a number, within your whole sales program. And so just finding little things that you could do to really personalize your customer communication. Or another big thing you're seeing is unboxing, as they call it. The Beyonce campaign with the Ivy Park is a great example of that. Like, how are you sending out your products to customers if you have an e-store? What are some cool things you could do where they feel like it's an experience and it's kind of personalized when they're unwrapping, this product? So, a great opportunity to kind of just think of ways to differentiate yourself within the market by personalizing all the experiences with your customer. The next is automated workflows. As a small business owner, you're juggling 30,000 things at once. And so automated workflows really allow you to sit down and try to get through the process quickly, right? There are some things that if a customer buys something, having a system automatically, send out communications or, automatically schedule out, your calendar. I mean, what are those things that you could just have automated just to kind of free up your time, free up your space so that you can focus on other things? And so, there are a lot of days where you just get bogged down with administrative tasks as a business owner. So whether it's using Facebook has things where you can schedule out messages, Hootsuite, that way you're not bogged down with like trying to manage your social media. You could even automate your responses on social media so that as you engage with customers, you can pretty much go in and kind of just automate what's being responded to each customer, just to kind of help ease that. And then finally, LinkedIn. Social media is growing. LinkedIn is still kind of finding itself with in the social media platform. So, so what we can do with LinkedIn is most things like Instagram and Facebook at this point, for the masses to really see your messaging, you need to buy ads. LinkedIn is still kind of has a organic search and display going on. They're looking for people to create content on their platform. So if you're especially a service-based business, you know, LinkedIn is something that you definitely want to look into using. It's kind of like low-hanging fruit at this point. So start posting messages, blog posts, you know, articles, and really trying to engage what's going on with LinkedIn. So those are a couple of trends that we just noticed for small businesses for them to succeed. And so when we talk about tools, Trello is one of the main tools that we use as a business. And so Trello is a free, you know, free software that's really like a project management tool. The beauty of Trello for us is that, you know, you could set your board up any type of way. It just allows you for a lot of flexibility. And so I'm going to share my screen with you guys. First, I'm going to give you a link. If you want to look at the board on your own. So this is a Trello board, and this is what we use for our marketing plan for the year. And so it kind of reviews the same thing we talked about earlier when we talked about, you know, looking at your promotions, your advertising, your visions, what are you really trying to accomplish? And so we created this board as a template to help people out. It has the full year, you know, kind of organized for you. And one thing we do at Fate Media, we really like to look at the marketing plan quarterly versus annually. When you try to just plan out things annually, it gets a little overwhelming. So we tell businesses, what are you trying to accomplish for the quarter? And then when you really think about the quarter, you could kind of start thinking about seasonal planning, which is a little bit easier to relate to. So for instance, we're entering into, you know, after March, we'll be entering into the second quarter, you know, but this is all around the spring time. You know, what are some of the major holidays that are going on? You have Mother's Day, Easter coming up, you know, Ramadan's coming up, graduations. What are some things that you could sit down and really do within your messaging? Tax day is coming up if you're in finance, you know, figuring out what are some important dates that are going on and, you know, kind of sitting down and report them. We also add a holiday calendar, national days calendar, just to kind of help you along to see what are some dates that you should be aware of. And so when you look at like January, for instance, you know, Martin Luther King's Day and silly little holidays that they have, and what are some, you know, promotional activities or blog posts or messaging that you could do to kind of support some of these things. I also think about things that are just naturally going on within your community. For January, like every sorority had their Founders Day. So if, you know, you have a product or a service-based business that deals heavily with women, you could have created some promotional activities to really promote that. Or, you know, you have Super Bowl, what are some things you could do for that? So it's really just kind of breaking things down in sections so it's not so overwhelming. And then just going through some creative ways to kind of figure that out. Then you just kind of go down the list. So what are some promotions we could do in the month of February? What are some advertising we could do? Communications, blog, media, press. The beauty of Trello, you could delete things that you don't need. So if you're not on a webinar or a podcast, you could just, you know, delete this card and not have to worry about it. This isn't set up for you to just try to accomplish everything all at once. It's really all about figuring out what works best for your business and planning for that. We also have a space in here for you to put your metrics, right? Because like I said, you want to record what's going on as far as sales, what's going on as far as your social media, website analytics, what are things that you need to improve, from some of the strategies that didn't work. So being able to sit down on a quarterly basis, monthly basis, kind of assess what's going on so you could plan out for the future. And then the beauty of this is once you create your foundation of your plan, you're able to just schedule things out. Like we said, automated workflows. So, March essentially is the time that you should start planning for the second quarter and doing all of your graphics on social media, doing, if you're a blogger, creating some of your video. If you have an email newsletter, figuring out what you're going to post, send out your newsletter and just kind of schedule things out. So you can kind of really get to a point of a set it and forget it type business attitude with your marketing, which is a lot better to manage, right? Because then at least the foundation is set and then you're just adding kind of like cherries on top, when you find other little cool things going on. Or it allows you to plan for big things happening in your community. If there's a major event, you're ready for it because all of your stuff is planned out and now you can focus your time on doing some things to market within, a major event that's happening in your community. So planning just really puts you ahead of the game so that you're just able to accomplish a lot more in your messaging and your marketing. And Trello is really cool. I mean, this is the board that we designed. It's a template. You can make a copy of it. But as you see, I have a ton of boards. One thing I do is like a daily agenda board. Essentially, it has like future projects, what I'm trying to accomplish this month, my weekly agenda, what's in progress, my task, and then when I finish a task. And so then once I finish a task, I just drag the card over here. It's done. And, so just as far as like daily tracking, you could definitely use Trello for that as well. It's a really great way to kind of do some team planning. For Black Restaurant Week, we have a task board and we assign, people to certain tasks and, you can invite people to join your board. So it's a really great way to kind of manage what you do. You can also link it to calendars. There's a whole list of stuff you could do with Trello. And so over here, we've kind of outlined resources, what are some instructions, how to actually work the boards and things of that nature, just to kind of help guide you with Trello. But definitely look into it. It's free. It has the app, so you could access the same information on your cell phone, on your mobile tablet. So, you could, like, the other beauty of this is that it's digital. You could drop links directly in here, so let's say you're just out browsing on the internet and you see something that's going on. So if you want to attach that link in there, then it's attached. And so when you're kind of doing your planning later on, now you could save like that link. Or if you have photos or things of that nature, you could just add them. So that's kind of why we like it, because it's digital. If there are things that you didn't accomplish in January, you could just move it over and say, okay, well, now this is what I'm going to do in February. So that way your plan is a lot more living. It's not static. It's not like, oh, I didn't accomplish everything I want to do this quarter. Like, you could just adjust and move everything over to the second quarter, but at least everything is kind of organized for you to do that. Definitely adding your wins are important. Like we said, celebrate the small things just so that you don't get bogged down in what you could have done. And that's really it. There's a lot of great YouTube videos about Trello. So definitely join, and then, people set up boards all different types of ways. It's a great way to kind of see what are some of the things you could do with it. And so, so that's essentially it. Really kind of quick overview as far as what a marketing plan is, what are some tools you could use to really plan and organize your marketing plan for the year? And then what are just some strategies you could do to make sure that you're not bogged down with tasks? So automating some of your workflows, asking customers to leave reviews just so that, you know, word of mouth free marketing for you, using LinkedIn more just because, you know, it's still pretty available as far as the algorithm. These are just some things that businesses could kind of implement in the near future, just to kind of make sure that you are successful. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, so Christina, can you, I know she was having some problems earlier. Are you allowed to chime in now? Okay, I guess not. You could visit us on Fade Media. It's kind of coming up wrong. I'll put in our website for you guys. You know, we do digital marketing. You know, so if you want to just do a brief 10 to 15 minute consultation, it's free. So definitely just hit us up. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, you know, at Fade Media. If you love the information we shared, leave us a review. And we do this thing called Marketing Mondays quarterly. So this was our first session for the quarter. The second quarter, we're going to be talking about marketing campaigns, like what are the ways to really sit down and create a marketing campaign? How can you be creative in your messaging, creative in the tools? So basically using this foundation of what do you have as a plan, and then us working with you to take that to the next level with the marketing campaign. So I think Christina is able to speak now. Christina?